results. So X39 is a very sophisticated medical device. It's very simple to explain. The testimonials, ladies and gentlemen, of X39 are life-changing, quite emotional. The best thing about this product, it absolutely works. And you're about to hear from my dear friend and my dear brother, Carl. I believe your wife is on there. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. Carl, if you wouldn't mind, unmute, come on camera, and talk about who introduced you to X39, how long you guys have been patching, and tell us, Firestones, what this wonderful patch has done for the Firestone family. Carl, Cathie, welcome.
Hey, Joe. Thanks so much for joining us. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to join y'all tonight. Carl and I were introduced to X39 actually 3 years ago, July. So a couple days away from July. I think we actually started patching on July 3rd, 3 years ago. And full disclosure, we were super skeptical. So if you're skeptical tonight, you're in good company. But I'm so grateful every day to God that we had an open mind. And so that's what we would encourage you to do too. This technology has completely changed our lives, the lives of our entire family. And it's nothing short of a miracle. What this tiny little patch can do. Actually, what your body can do with the help of the little patch. So for me, 10 days in, I got my first testimony, if you will. My energy levels soared. I was up to that point, the girl that had to be in bed by 9 o'clock every night because I was exhausted all the time. And about 10 days after starting to wear the patch, Carl actually found me in the laundry room at 11:30 at night doing laundry. And his jaw was just on the floor. And he looked at me and he said, "What is wrong with you?" And I said, "I don't know. It's got to be this patch because nothing else has changed. And I feel really good and there's laundry to do. So here I am." And it's not a jittery energy like we get from caffeine or sugar. It's a peaceful, calm energy. And I know those words don't sound like they should go together, but that's exactly what I experienced. And I can tell you it's not gone away for 3 years. So that was my first testimony. What was more significant for me was what happened 5 weeks in. I had been suffering with chronic hip irritation and pain on my left side, and it would wake me up every morning, and I was in pain. And I had dealt with it for about 18 months and was ready to see an orthopedist because I just couldn't do it anymore. And I didn't want to take that route. And so 5 weeks after I started patching, I woke up one morning, I'll never forget it, at 5:30, jumped out of bed like a loaded spring.
Well, I
gave my, neither will Carl, gave my husband a heart attack, I think. And I'm jumping around our bedroom saying, "I don't hurt. I'm not in pain." And that hip pain irritation has never come back. And so for me, that was life changing. And again, the patch doesn't heal, treat, cure, prevent anything, but what it does is put your body in that natural reboot. And when you elevate that copper peptide, incredible things start to happen. And then the last thing for me, and this sounds kind of maybe insignificant, but it wasn't insignificant for me. I had developed, I hate to even say this because it's just nasty, but it's the truth. I had a wart on my ring finger, my wedding ring finger. And I had it for years, and dermatologists had tried to freeze it off with the liquid nitrogen, and it kept coming back. And it was unsightly and it was large. And I don't even remember how long after I started patching, but I would constantly, kind of run my thumb over it because it had been there for so long. And one day I was doing that and I looked down and I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's gone." And so I kind of screamed and yelled and made a big deal about that one too. So it sounds insignificant, but for me, because I loved, looking at my wedding ring, and I always had that unsightly wart there, and now I don't.
It just jumped off one day and crawled away, I think.
Yes, yes. But it's just been remarkable. My energy levels, I'm 53. I feel better today than I did in my 20s and 30s. And that is significant. We all want to age gracefully and with energy. And so it's been life-changing.
Yeah, great job, Kath. So you guys, for me, I didn't have fast story to tell, like Cathie did. I maybe was sleeping a little better, a little more energy throughout the day. It was noticeable, but it wasn't something that, I was going to write home about. My big hope was that X39 would positively affect my severe headaches that I have had for 50 years, weekly, recurring weekly. And as the weeks and the months ticked by, I was not seeing any benefit to those. I was not getting any reduction in the discomfort. The frequency was still there. And so I was getting frustrated. And so Cathie just kept encouraging me. She said, Carl, listen, the inventor says that you have to commit, like Joe said, commit to wearing X39 for 1 month for every decade of age. So for me, 60 years old, 6 months. And true to form, right about that 6-month time frame, little longer, a couple weeks longer, I noticed one weekend I woke up with a headache and I said, here we go again. And noticed throughout the day that it wasn't turning into that full-blown onset, pain in the bed, hot shower, dark room type of headache, and I could function. And I thought, wow, that's interesting. And so the next week, same thing. The week after that, the same thing, little less intense. And I got excited, you guys. I got so excited that maybe, just maybe, it was starting to touch those lousy headaches. And I told Cathie the next weekend, I said, you're never going to believe this. Guess what's happening with these lousy headaches? And you guys, I can report today that I no longer suffer with those. My weeks are longer. And on a side note, right about that magical 6-month time frame for me, being a contractor on my feet on concrete for many years and decades, I developed very severe spider veins on my feet, hundreds of spider veins, very beautiful spider veins. And she went by my chair one night and stopped in her tracks and said, Carl, look at your feet. And I said, why? What's going on with my feet? She said, honey, your spider veins are completely reversed. You guys, they were gone.
Yeah.
And it really was a wake-up call for me because right at that magic 6 months, I started seeing these phenomenal results to my health. And I got so excited, began to share more. And the headaches never came back. The spider veins never came back. And I don't see one sign of any wart walking around here. It is just so exciting. So we started sharing it, and people were giving us the same kind of phone calls back. You're not going to believe this. Yeah. And it was just hard to wrap our brain around what we had our hands on and what this little sticker, like Joe said, is capable of. Is truly life-changing.
It's not a sticker. It's technology.
Yeah.
This is technology, and it is life-changing.
So thank you, Joe, so much for having us come in and share a bit.
You are so welcome. Thank you, Firestones. And I just want to thank you for continuing to be persistent with my wife and I, because as you know, we told you no 3 times, but we got that nudge. We got that nudge for a reason, and we're so glad we did. So if you guys wouldn't mind hanging around, I like to open it up for Q&A. So ladies and gentlemen, fantastic testimonials from Carl and Cathie Firestone. We love them dearly.